Moving on now to immaculate cloneception news. Researchers have created the world's first synthetic embryos in a groundbreaking feat that bypassed the need for sperm, eggs, and fertilization, rendering the human race somewhat obsolete, which is probably for the best as far as the planet is concerned. Scientists at the Weizmann Institute in Israel found that stem cells from mice could be made to self-assemble into early embryo-like structures with an intestinal tract, the beginnings of a brain, and a beating heart. Conservatives rushed to the lab to ensure that the scientists kept the embryo alive and didn't abort it, but upon discovering that they weren't restricting a woman's bodily autonomy by doing so, they were conflicted. After all, is it even preserving the sanctity of life if you don't oppress someone else's choices? It's one of the great philosophical conundrums of our age. For now, they will have to hold off on such classic science fiction moral questions turned dystopian realities such as, is a clone legally a human, and if a clone forms in a lab and nobody comes to make it, does it make a soul? Classic science fiction. Which makes the next story particularly vexing for your hardcore carnivores, as a Dallas-based startup is trying to bring back the thylacine, formerly the world's largest carnivorous marsupial that went extinct in the 1930s, more commonly known as the Tasmanian tiger. And the most hardcore of carnivores among us refuse to acknowledge that meat grown in a lab is really meat. You see, they need to see the life drain out of the eyes of a creature. The company in question, Colossal Biosciences, is referring to themselves as a de-extinction company, placing them in a good position for the future of Australia, as we are on a collision course with burning all our wildlife to death. So we will need innovative solutions to modern problems that we can ignore for 90 years, as we tend to do. So, an improvement on the normal 98 years it took to acknowledge and apologise for stolen generations. Looks like we're improving as a nation. Pow pow pow! Progressive government. We will have an apology ready to go for the wildlife that we allowed to go extinct through inaction over climate change in maybe 80 years or so. And we can consider a motion to maybe take meaningful action in the 20 years following that, if we get around to it. No rush, but we will make a motion to consider maybe possibly getting around to it, given time. Now, given the nature of disruption capitalism, tech companies' propensities to fail to make money without making immoral action, and the almost pathological nature of American companies to pursue reckless financial success, it is only a matter of time that all animals cloned by Colossal Biosciences go from being gifted to the home country to being loaned to the home country on annual contracts where we either pay money or exchange valuable minerals, like how we access pandas as part of a soft power exchange with China for uranium. Oh, you didn't know that? Oh, we definitely do that. That is a thing that you can look up. And that way we can access the animals that once roamed freely across our lands for a small cost. Like some sort of poorly written parable in a horrific science fiction novel, probably titled something awful like Democracy for Koalas or Do Tech Companies Dream of Artificial Tigers? Something nonsense like that. Last year, Colossal Biosciences announced that it was trying to resurrect the woolly mammoth. And given that we are now actually overrun with woolly mammoths, unable to escape the Flintstones-like existence where we have replaced all petrol-run cars with the bodies of cars strapped to the backs of woolly mammoths, I suspect that we are set to see the return of the thylacine in mere months, right in time for SpaceX to get its first rocket to the moon. All of those things will definitely be happening at the same time.